Hi, test takers. So last week we had Atoyebe with us who told us some of the strategies he used to get a band 9 on the IELTS reading. And then I had a few comments from two of you specifically, Miriam and Rachel. I hope those are your names. So you wanted to know how to go about tackling the IELTS, and you also wanted to know the strategies, like really explain an explanation for the strategies, and that's why we have this video. So if you're just like these two people, you want to stick around, because today I'm going to tell you how to start your IELTS practices, how to go about it generally, and the best strategies to use. Stay tuned. Okay, so first things first, let's answer the first question. How do you start your IELTS journey? Now, if you watched my previous video on everything you need to know about IELTS, if you haven't, please go back and watch that video, because it will give you a starting perspective on the IELTS. Now, having said that, the first thing you need to do is to start on a category, right? Because you know that there are 4 categories. So there's the reading, listening, writing, and speaking. So you want to choose a category to begin with. For today, we're going to say we're starting with the reading, because of course we started with the reading on the band 9. So that said, how then do you proceed with the reading? Now, the first things first, let's do a quick introduction to the reading. Now, the reading comprises of passages and then question types. And remember that Atoyebe told us that one of the strategies to IELTS is knowing the question type. So let's begin with the format of the IELTS. Now, if you're writing the IELTS general, you're going to be having a slight difference with those that are writing the general, the academic. Now, for both of you guys, you have section 1, section 2, and section 3. That is, the reading is divided into 3 sections. So you're going to be answering questions for section 1, questions for section 2, and then questions for section 3. All these questions are 40 in total. So if you have gone through any of the Cambridges that are recommended, you'll see that for the reading, it is divided into sections. I'm going to put maybe a copy here. So you have section 1, section 2, and section 3. Now, if you're doing the general, if you're taking the IELTS general, section 1 having 1 passage and 1 question type, usually a matching information question type or a true false not given question type. Then you have another passage, and then this one comes with either a true false not given or a matching information question type. So you get for section 1 for general, you get 1 passage, 1 question, another passage, another question. On the other hand, for academic, you only get 1 passage, but it's really longer than that of the general. So you have 1 long passage and then 2 question types. Usually you have completion question types and true false not given. Now, section 2, which is slightly harder than section 1, IELTS increases difficulty anyway. So you have section 2 for generals, you have completion questions. So you have your first passage, you have note completion or table completion, and then you have second passage, you have note completion, table completion, or sentence completion, any of the completions. And then for academics, in your section 2, you have also 1 passage and 2 question types as well. So it can be either matching information, it can be completion questions, it can be 2-answer question, it can be multiple choice. Now, for generals, we come to the last section, which is the section 3. And in section 3, you have the most difficult question types. So you have you have 1 long passage now instead of 2 passages. Remember, in section 1, we had 2 passages to question types. Section 2, 2 passages to question types. Section 3, you would have 1 very long question type and 1 long passage and 3 question types. So you can have summary completion, multiple choice, and varying question types, but you have 3 of them right there on section 3. So basically for general, you're looking at 3 sections, 2 passages, 2 question types. Second section, 2 passages, 2 question types, and 3 question types, 1 passage for section 3. Now for academics, you get section 1, 1 passage, 2 question types. Section 2, another long passage, 2 question types, and section 3, 1 really long passage and 3 question types. Now all questions, you have 40 questions in all, and that's how your format is. So once you see that, you know, okay, this is the reading format. Now, another thing you need to know is the timing. Now, Atoyebi mentioned something about time management, and it's key that you know how to finish on time. So my strategy, or what I tell my students to do, is to spend a maximum of 15 minutes on section 1. Now, IELTS recommends 20 20 20. That's 20 in part 1, 20 in section 2, and 20 in section 3 to make 60 minutes. But I usually say that if you want to be quick, the best thing is to measure 15 minutes for for section 1, and this because section 1 is the simplest of the 3 sections. Then section 2, you want to spend maximum of 20 minutes. This time I'm assigning is the maximum you should spend. If you become so fast that you can spend less those times, please do. Okay, so maximum section 1, academic or general, is 15 minutes. Maximum section 2, 20 minutes, and maximum section 3, of course, that leaves 25 minutes. So you have 15, 20, 25, and that makes 60 total. Now, if you can spend less and less time in your practice, please do, because you might need a little bit more time. Like Atoyebi said, he finishes in 50 minutes, so he can always go over what he has written. Now, please do not let this timing take away the fact that you need to get the questions correctly. So if you're starting out, I usually say that if you're spending more than an hour, if you're spending 2 hours, 3 hours answering the questions during your first practices, you're still on the good side. You need to first learn the question types, master them before you start working on maybe beating the times to 60 minutes or 50 minutes. Now, getting it correctly should be your main priority. Now, to the next thing, Atoyebi said we should learn question types. So this next lesson is on the question types. How many question types do we have on the reading? Let's begin by listing the question types so that you get familiar with them. Question type 1, true, false, not given. Now, true, false, not given is one of the most popular question types on the IELTS, and you're definitely going to get it. Sometimes you also get the yes, no, not given. It is just like the true, false, not given, but with a little twist. Second, you have the completion question types. There are the table completion, note completion, and sentence completion. Those 3 completion questions are just filling the gap. So you have to fill in the gap with recommended number of words. So those are our question types. All right, then we have question type 3, which is the matching information question type. Now, matching information question type is also a regular, whether on academic or general, you're going to get it. And then you have the matching heading that Atoyebi told us was one of his most difficult question type. So that's another question type that you can get on the IELTS. Then we have the matching features. Now, the matching features is one of another question type that you will get, or you might get, on the IELTS reading. Then we have the summary completion. Now, this is a completion question like the others, and like the note, table, and sentence. However, it has a little bit of difference. So we have the regular sentence summary completion and the summary completion with a twist. So I'm going to show you both of them. One of them has a box under and the other doesn't. The one with box under is typically an academic question, but sometimes you could get it as a general. Then we have the diagram labeling. That was typically an academic question, but recently generals have started to get it, so you might want to look at it. Then we have the flow chart completion. This is strictly a general question type. Then we have the multiple choice questions, pretty tricky question type as well. Then we have the 2 answers question type, which is almost exactly like the multiple choice, except that you have to answer 2 questions instead of 1. I think I got all the question types. There are some question types that that IELTS used to have, but slowly phased out over the years, such as sentence endings, such as short answer questions, but you might still get them, so they're already mentioned. So I think this wraps up the question types that we have. If I've omitted any, I'm going to add them in the description box. You need to know each and every one of them, how to tackle them, how to, tips and tricks and of how to do them and do them really quickly. And that moves us to the next trick. Okay, so the first one was learning the question type, the format, then learning the question types. Now I'm going to tell you that the next thing you need to learn on the IELTS reading is how to skim and scan. Now, this method is very, very key for IELTS academics, but for generals, there's only you only need it in a particular place, and I'm going to show you. Next time we take a reading class, we are going to be choosing one of these question types, and I'm going to be teaching you in depthly how to answer them. I'd like you guys to comment which question type you want us to start with, and I will start with that, right? So that's our comment for this week. Which question type on the reading should we start our classes with? I'm typically leaning towards starting with true, false, not given, because it's a part one question and it's the most popular, but I'd like to hear from you guys. What question type do you want us to start with? See you next week. Bye.